Honourable members' prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favour upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, thou members of Parliament, and the Ministers of State with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labours of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us the vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbour, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honour shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggled with this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, we shall commence with the corrections of votes and proceedings of the 27th sitting of the third meeting held on Friday, December 10th, 2021. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Yes, Honourable Member for South Day.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. If you look at item number 10 on page 9, the name of the Honourable Deputy Minister for Energy was wrongly spelled, Edu. So if the table office can take note. Thank you.
Very well. Page 10. Yes.
Speaker, consequentially, if the table office could also affect the same amendment in item number 11.
Yes, on page 10. Yes.
Thank you.
Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23. Page 24. Page 25. Page 26. Honourable members, the votes and proceedings of Friday, December 10, 2021 is as corrected. It's hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Before I proceed to the parliamentary reports, the official report, I have communication from His Excellency the President. Yes, Mr. Speaker, absence from Ghana. In accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that in my capacity as the chairperson of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of the ECOWAS Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, as well as the President of the Republic, I'll be traveling outside the Republic in the evening of Saturday, 11 December 2021 to Abuja, capital of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to lead Ghana's delegation to the 60th Ordinary Session of the Conference of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS, to be held on Sunday, 12 December in Abuja. Thereafter, I will Royal Highness and the Hereditary Grand Duke Albert Gabriel Felomi, the head of state of the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, visit Luxembourg on 13 December 2021. While in Luxembourg, I'm scheduled to meet with His Excellency Mr. Xavier Bettel, Prime Duchy of Luxembourg, and to deliver an address at the Luxembourg Chamber of Commerce. Following the official visit to Luxembourg, I'll travel to Brussels, Belgium, at the invitation of His Excellency Charles Michel, President of the European Union, to hold bilateral talks with him and other officials of the European Union, EU. I will also meet with officials of the European Investment Bank. Then on Tuesday, 14 December 2021, I will travel to Strasbourg, France, at the invitation of His Excellency David Sassoli, President of the European Parliament, to deliver a speech at the European Parliament. I will return to Ghana in the evening of Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. During my absence, the Vice President Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Baumia shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely and best wishes, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It's addressed to the Right Honourable Speaker, Office of Parliament, Parliament House, Accra. Now we have the official report for Wednesday, November 10, 2021. Consideration of this was deferred last Friday. Now, any corrections? Any corrections? In the absence of any corrections, the official report of Wednesday, 10th November 2021 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Item 5, questions. There's only one question listed, and it's in the name of the Honourable Member for Denton, Mr. Mohammed Adamu Ramadan. Yes, you may ask to be answered by the Minister, the Majority Leader and Leader of the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader. Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Majority Leader and Leader of the House what the current status of the building of offices for members of Parliament in their respective constituencies are. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader. Yes, Honourable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that the Honourable Ramadan is responsible to question 506 as you have admitted. But I'm wondering in what capacity the majority leader and minister have happily worked with his new shoes to answer the question. In what capacity? Which of the legs are you working on? Minister or majority leader? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think the question is addressed to the majority leader. And so he's answering as majority leader. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Speaker, I thank you very much. And to my colleague, the
Honorable
minority
Leader,
leader.
hold on. Yes, Honorable Member for Lord Tom.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, per our rules, this is not an urgent question. As I see here under item number 506. And I go through the order paper, Mr. Speaker, and the response is not provided. So we can follow and keenly note what the Honorable Majority Leader will be telling the House. So considering that this is not an urgent question, and it is listed here as an ordinary question, we should have it. The order paper I have, Mr. Speaker, the supplement for answers to parliamentary questions is blank. There is no response there. So, Mr. Speaker, we need some guidance on this.
Yes, the Honorable Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Speaker is the person charged with the responsibility of admitting questions. It is not the person who has to answer the questions. And, Mr. Speaker, I clearly remember that this question, in its earlier life, the question in its earlier life was an urgent question that was filed at the ministry responsible for parliamentary affairs. And when I came here, I indicated that it was wrongly addressed. The member subsequent to that saw me and we had some discussions that really should have been addressed to the majority leader of the House. So it has metamorphosed into another form and this time properly addressed. So I think it came still under the umbrella of its initial cover. And this time I'm using the word umbrella advisedly. The Speaker, knowing that the umbrella is, in this case, it got torn, but it's been repaired. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe is the reason why the question has been admitted. And I can respond to that.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, to further deepen the representational role of Parliament, the need has arisen for members of Parliament to be provided with constituency offices that will be accessible by all citizens and residents in the various constituencies, and that is irrespective of one's political affiliation. Providing members of Parliament with the constituency offices would facilitate and enhance their work in their constituencies. It will also afford constituents a common platform to engage and interact with their representatives, since oftentimes constituents who do not belong to the political party of their members of Parliament find it difficult, indeed almost impossible, to engage their representatives at the party office of the various members of Parliament. Government and the leadership of the House, recognizing this defect in our governance architecture, have to address it, put measures in place to ensure the construction of offices for members of Parliament in all the 275 constituencies to serve as neutral grounds for fruitful engagement to upscale our participatory democracy. In this regard, Parliament, under the Parliamentary Service Office Support Project, intends to construct 70 of such offices annually. It is expected that all 275 constituencies will be provided with such offices over a period of 4 years. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, Parliament in the 2021 budget was allocated an amount of 45,500,000 Ghana cedis for the construction of 70 constituency offices, which was to constitute the first phase of the project. Mr. Speaker, I must admit that further discussions on this have yielded the consideration that the amount that we programmed for the construction of the facilities, the unit cost, certainly would not suffice given the current circumstances of the cost of building materials, which then means that we have to really increase the level of the allocations per unit. And indeed, for this year, we've come to some determination on that. The Parliamentary Service Board has considered the proposal for the award of contract, and the contract has been referred to the Entity Tender Committee of the Parliamentary Service for consideration and report to the Board. The Entity Tender Committee subsequently met and recommended that the leadership of the House should constitute a committee comprising of members of Parliament with the requisite knowledge from both sides of the House to engage the Entity Tender Committee on the award of contract. The committee has been constituted and is here to meet with the Entity Tender Committee. Mr. Speaker, I can assure honourable members that the decision for the construction of the facilities would factor in the concerns of all members of Parliament, and nothing will be done to subvert that is the concerns of members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, honourable member. The follow-up question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the Majority Leader for his response. What I want to find out is that previously the arrangement was that first year we're going to do 70, second year 70, third year 70, then the fourth year we do the remaining. So now that year one is gone already, are we going to do what we're supposed to have done in year one, in year two, so that for 2022 we're going to be doing 140 constituencies instead of the initial 70 for 2021, 70 for 2022, 70 for 2023, and then the remaining 65 for 2024. So I want to find out whether for this year, what we didn't do last year, we're going to add it up to what we didn't do in 2021. We're going to have to do it in 2022, so we'll be doing 140 units instead of the 70 units. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honourable leader.
Mr. Speaker, I must concede that Parliament did not commence the construction of the facilities in 2021 as we envisaged, and it's not attributable to the Ministry of Finance not releasing the funds, but because of what we had to do preparatory to the award of the contracts, securing the parcels of land in the various constituencies and so on. So, indeed and in truth, we're not able to begin. And so we need now to factor into this next year's allocation. I'm not too sure we'll be able to carry the two tranches for on the back of the 2022 allocation. But certainly we must accommodate the outstanding ones, at least a portion of it, on the 2022 allocation, such that we will not do 70 as previously programmed for each year, but that we will be in a position to do more than 70. Perhaps at least a third of it, of the outstanding, should be added to the 2022. And as I said, truth is, we can't anymore go with the projected, I think, 700, 800,000 for one unit. It may have to go up a little more than what we projected for last year. So that is where we are. But, Mr. Speaker, let me plead with members, because, as I indicated, a key reason why we couldn't begin was having access to land. So and initially we were thinking of even beginning in the various regional capitals. I think where we are now, we need to have a look at that decision, whether to go by alphabetical order or whatever order that we may yield to ultimately. What is important is that we must make available parcels of land, and that means that members of parliament will have to collaborate, beginning now, with the various district assemblies to ensure that we have the parcels of land allocated, so that when it comes to the implementation, we'll be able to do so without any further administrative bottlenecks. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have further no question. I'd like to thank the Majority Leader. But just to correct, the allocated amount for 2021 was 650,000 per unit. 650,000 per unit. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Do you want to respond to that?
Mr. Speaker, that was the estimate. And that's why I said between 600 and 800,000. But I'm just indicating that that amount may not suffice any longer for 2022. We may have to look at it and depend on professional advice, perhaps to increase it by some percentage, whatever factor, whether it's inflation or interest rate or whatever, they will better advise. But clearly, the amount allocated last year may not suffice into 2022. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member for Tamalino.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me thank the Leader of Government Business for his answer. Mr. Speaker, I just want to find out if the issue of land acquisition for the construction of these offices have been dealt with, and how those are dealt with. Again, what are some of the management, practices that are in place? And management, how those offices will be managed, especially in terms of transition, where sometimes you will have, one member of parliament either handing over to another member of parliament from the same party or different parties. Have we factored in these transitional arrangements as to the management of these offices? So first is the land acquisition for the project. How are you handling that? And then also the management, especially with regard to transitional arrangements.
Yes, Honourable Leader.
Speaker, when the chief mourner has buried the corpse and the funeral is over and Thanksgiving service has been organized, if some people, sympathizers, want to weep more than the bereaved, come in with requests, it becomes the call for the family to respond. Because the chief mourner has already had his Thanksgiving service. And my colleague is coming in with is a sequel. I think the issues that he raised, the land matter I've already addressed. And I was saying that it's difficult for Parliament as an institution to go into the various constituencies to demand that we want this land. It's for the Member of Parliament to liaise with the Assembly to have the land secured, just as we do with, say, GET Fund, right? So that is why I put emphasis on that we must have to work around this so that it doesn't become an impediment. If, for instance, you have to come to your backyard to construct one, we don't suffer any suffocation because it's been difficult securing land for the project. The Speaker, the issue about management, yes, there are matters that we may have to live with because the office is supposed to serve the Member of Parliament. You may, once the facility is in place, perhaps employ trusted people that you think that you can leave your affairs in their hands without blinking an eye. So you engage a secretary to man the secretariat for you. You engage a research officer to conduct real research, receive complaints and so on, conduct research and feed you to fulfill your representational function in Parliament on behalf of the constituency. Another person succeeds you, even from the same party. He may not trust the secretary that you have employed. He may want to bring his own secretary, in whom that person can have some trust and believe. So these are administrative matters that I believe we can contend with. Research officers that you may bring may not perhaps appeal to the person who succeeds you, even from the same political party. If it's another political party succeeding another political party, that becomes all the more difficult. So these are human issues that we have to contend with. And I believe we'll be able to negotiate the twists and turns when we get there. Thank you very much.
Very well. I don't see any other person on his feet. I wanted to make some suggestions, Leader. I suggest that any land acquired to build a party of you're on your feet in respect of the same matter? Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Just to draw the attention of the leader that he probably would like to, is it better? Just to draw the attention of the leader that he may want to visit his own statements on this matter in the Hansard. He'll be better informed so that when you speak to it again, we have some consistency. In your response in the Hansard, you quoted some figures and indicated that you had information that somebody had increased the money to 1.2 million and you will not allow that and so on. Because of the discussion going on, I'm just drawing your attention to what you have said earlier in the Hansard, that you go back and look at it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it's not an inconsistency. It's not an inconsistency. When we first came to the consideration, I think last year when we started off, the project was equated to a get fund project, and the cost was then around 500,000. Some of us thought that was on the downside because you need to provide maybe some other additional facilities in the office of the Member of Parliament, whoever that person is. And you have a secretariat. Then you have maybe a reception. So we thought that amount, the 500,000 initial figure, wasn't going to suffice. So we spoke to professionals, and they then came and advised, which is the figure that we quoted. Subsequent to that, it came to the fore and that is last year, that the figure has gone up to more than 2 times the original. As we speak today, what is being bandied about is about 4 times. And to me, we must listen to what the professionals say. I don't want to speak from the top of my head. We must be guided by what the professionals say. And that is why I'm saying that They are indicating to us that the figures that we were even dealing with last year would not suffice. Did I say last year? This year, at the beginning of this year, would not suffice. Into next year, we need to have a second look at it. And as I said, we listen to the professional guidance that they offer. And if it's 1 million, so be it. But if somebody is quoting maybe 5 million, I would say, Abba. That certainly will be through the roof. But let's listen to the advice that the professionals bring to bear on us.
Very well. I was suggesting that any land acquired for building a member's office should be acquired in the name of Parliament of Ghana, so that Parliament of Ghana, if I acquire land that be acquired for building the MP's office, the lease or the document should be in the name of Parliament of Ghana, not me, Oseusu, or my party, so that in future, if I'm not there or my party is not in power, it becomes an issue. Second, I suggest that every employee you bring in, his term of office or his contract should be personal to you, the person, so that when you're leaving the office, you leave with your staff. You don't leave any staff over for your successor. These are just my suggestions. I hope the leadership will take into consideration. That brings us to the end of question time for today. Yes, Honorable Chief Whip.
Speaker, I'll seek your kind leave to vary the order of business and take item 7, presentation of papers. Then we go on to page 20, item 24, motion. Page 20, item 24, Speaker.
Yes. Minority Whip.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we don't have an objection because my ranking has briefed me, and he claims that it's not a controversial issue, so we are ready for it.
Very well. Item 24, motion. The Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move for the adoption of motion number 24 listed on page 20 of today's other paper. And Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I would like to present your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I'd like to read portions of the report due to time constraint and ask the Hansard Department to capture the report in its entirety as being read. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, the 16th of November 2021, your committee met to consider the commercial agreement of Peduasi Mamfi Koforibia Road Project that was referred to your committee. And Mr. Speaker, after an extensive deliberations with the Ministry of Roads and Highways, your committee made some key observations and recommendations. I would like to focus on 3 key areas of part of the report. That is the objective, the observations, then conclusions. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 4 of the report, which is the objective of the project, which is very critical. Mr. Speaker, the objective, we were made to understand the objective of the project is to reduce travel and vehicle operating costs in the Peduasi Mamfi Koforibia Road and the road network in its immediate environs. The project also seeks to improve accessibility and ease of movement for the pedestrian and non-motorized vehicle users, especially those with disabilities, and improve the capacity of the drainage system along the stretch. Mr. Speaker, I'll quickly move to observations, which is paragraph 6 of the report. And under the observation, Mr. Speaker, we were made to understand the entire project cost is 150 million euros. The committee was noted that the total project cost for the design and construction of the Peduasi Manfi project is 150 euros. The project duration, we were made to understand the project duration for the Peduasi Manfi Kuforidua Road will take 6 months for the design and another 24 months for the construction project. So in total, we are talking about 30 months. Mr. Speaker, the value for money audit under the observation to come with the value for money audit report, so that to also help the committee to expedite its consideration of commercial agreement. We were made to understand that this contract comes with a condition precedent, which shows that without the VFM, the contract will not be effective. So with that, we were satisfied that once it is part of the conditions, then we were satisfied that we can go ahead as a committee to recommend to the House for approval. Mr. Speaker, I will quickly move to the conclusion, which is paragraph 7 of the report. The committee, having regard to the anticipated benefits for the Peduasi Manfi Koforidua Road project, brings to the economy of Ghana, and considering the economic viability, which is in line with the strategies in achieving the sustainable development goals, hereby recommend to the House to adopt its report and approve the design and build contract agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana and Marcel Constructionis Marcel Constructionis Infrastructures. It's called Rango. In short, Rango. Yes. A construction company limited of an amount of 150 million euros for the design and construction of the Peduasi Manfi Koforidua Scenic Road project. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ranking Member, you probably pronounce the name better.
Mr. Speaker, I will not try. I'll rely on his pronunciation and get along with it. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to second the motion ably moved by the chairman and also make a few comments of my own. Mr. Speaker, we are told this is a project that is about 55 kilometers, specifically from Manfi towards Koforidua. Mr. Speaker, indeed, everybody knows the condition on many of our trunk roads currently are not the best. Indeed, we are doing asphaltic overlay in few of our cities, Accra, Kumasi, and other places. But if you are taking a journey between the capital and some regional capitals, it is obvious that you would notice that we need to upgrade many of these roads. Even Accra, Kumasi, Accra, Takrady, and every Accra Ho, whatever it is, the condition of these roads are in deplorable state. So any attempt to improve these roads should be a welcome news. But as the chairman said, indeed, this is not the first time we are approving a facility like this. But Mr. Speaker, as Parliament evolves, we should aspire to do things more efficiently and better. If you look at the scope of the project, it is quite clear what they intend to do. This is an EPC 10-key contract, so we're not giving any detailed design and other things. We are told that is going to be done in the course of the project. Mr. Speaker, the entities have come to rely too much, Mr. Speaker, on this idea that they bring contract agreement to this House and just simply say that there's a condition precedent that when it's not fulfilled, the contract is not effective. But the question you ask yourself is, Mr. Speaker, we've been here for, at least this government have been in power for 7 years, 5 years. If indeed this is a project they want to do, what stops them from doing the design and doing VFM before coming here. Last week, Mr. Speaker, with you in the chair, an entity came here with a VFM done before coming to the House. So it is possible for entities to come to Parliament with VFM done. In fact, during the last week's agreement, which was sponsored by Minister of Education, we were told that we saved $6 million after VFM. The only thing I'm not sure about is how the VFM entity was selected. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, there's no clear-cut law in this country that determines how VFM auditors are selected. Auditing firms, we know in this country, are selected by Auditor General's Department, or there's a process by which you become an auditor. But when it comes to value for money auditing firms, nobody really knows whose job is it, what is the criteria for you to become a legitimate, respected VFM company. And I think it's something that this House must help one of the, at least Minister of Finance or Minister of Works and Housing or other ones, to come up with. So we can have our own range of VFM, homegrown VFM companies that we can rely on, instead of a Crown agent or this one that we said we are told is a Ghanaian company. I don't even know the name. We don't even know how they do their things. What, in fact, Mr. Speaker, what is most amazing is nobody knows how they charge. How much does it cost to do a value for money audit in this country? That information is not available. Is it also based on the fact that they charge a percentage on the value of what they are auditing? We don't know. Lawyers have their fees based on something. Architects have their fees based on something. Auditors have their fees based on something. On what basis are value for money auditing firms paid? Nobody knows. And I think it is upon us to deal with it. Mr. Speaker, the breakdown of the project is quite clear. The only thing I'm not sure about is some of the figures. But hopefully the VFM companies will clear up some of these figures, because as a matter of fact, as we hear, you see, they'll say the project is 150 million euros. Exactly that. It is not possible that you can do a project that will zero to $150 million, euros exactly. There might be some changes on it, but we can only get to do. So this is actually a budget. It's still a budget. It is not the actual cost. It may be more, it may be less, but the good thing is it cannot be more once we do VFM. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't have any concerns with it, but the other thing is, if you look at this road, they are going to do drainage work, they are going to do bridges and other things. And some of us have been, or some people in this House have been political quantity surveyors in the past. When we lump things up like this, and there are some bridges and other things, people don't take it out. They just add the total cost and divide by the 55 kilometers and say a kilometer costs 3 million and other things. It doesn't help us. It's all because they don't come with much details. If they come with details, we will know that, oh, there's drainage work that costs this, there are bridges that cost this, then the actual road length is this. So, Mr. Speaker, it is in the interest of the sponsors of the bill to come up with these details. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I will recommend to my colleagues that all the ingredients of a contract in terms of defect liability period, advance payment, can only be paid with a bank guarantee. So it is in order, it's a standard practice. Performance security, all of them, financial impact have been provided. Mr. Speaker, we hope that whenever the VFM is done, Mr. Speaker, the clerk is finished, so that the House would apprise itself as to the real cost that we eventually build this. It also gives us guidance that in the future, when you see those similar projects, you can have an idea what it should cost in terms of the actual cost. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I recommend to my colleagues to approve this. But, Mr. Speaker, once again, too many of our trunk roads are in a very deplorable state, and we need to find ways of improving the condition. And I see our colleague, the minister here, I believe we can do, even if we don't have money to reconstruct, some of the bad spots, the serious potholes and other things, we should find a way of using the budgetary allocation to remedy some of those places whilst we wait for bigger money to actually do reconstruction. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity and encourage my colleagues to support the motion for the approval of this facility. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. Speaker, I don't intend to be long-winded because some of the issues that I wanted to relate to have already been spoken to by the Honourable Ranking Member. Mr. Speaker, the costs of this project is 150 million euros. And of course, there is another aspect which costs 10 million euros. So the total cost is 160 million euros. Speaker, if it's dollarized, we're getting into the region of about 180, 190 million. The stretch of road is 55 kilometers. And as the honourable member who were engaged just before he had his own term would agree, if we don't pry into it, on the face of it, it may appear as if the cost is too much. But there are justifications for that, because vast stretches of this road are going to be dualized. What it means on the face of it is that for that stretch that is dualized, the cost would double. The Speaker, that will not even include the cost of the construction of the median. On the face of it, just that stretch would mean that the cost for 1 kilometer would double. If you want to do a median, that also comes with its own cost, especially these days when we are all, we've all come to some agreement that on such routes, it is better to do a concrete median in the middle than to do a flower bed, because the vehicle, the drivers don't respect them, and they are a source of so many accidents. And with that, if there is any electrification on the stretch of road, they just bring down the light poles, and they are not held to account. So if you want to protect the light poles, better with concrete medians. They come at high cost. The Speaker, then, as he has also indicated, there are so many bridges on that stretch of road. And the Speaker, building bridges come with their own cost. And I thought that if the committee went into that and the report featured this, it would provide ample justification for the cost of the project. So nobody then jumps at it to say that the cost is too much. Speaker, drainage is also going to be done at most of the span of that road. Drainage also on such ways come at huge cost. Mr. Speaker, they are also going to pave many stretches of that route. And providing pavement is also at huge cost. Mr. Speaker, if you want to prolong the life of roads, we need to protect them at the shoulders of the road by building these pavements. Mr. Speaker, that also reduces significantly accidents, because cyclists will be using the pavement, pedestrians will be using the pavements, and jaywalking will be discouraged. So, Mr. Speaker, that as well comes with comes at a huge cost. And again, you have to look at the utility services along that stretch of road. Electrification, pipe-borne water delivery. If you have to relocate, Mr. Speaker, all of them will be factored into this. And that is why I had some engagement with the committee chair that next time around, these things must be properly investigated and factored into the report. Mr. Speaker, that will serve Parliament better. So in justifying the cost, we know that these are the matters that we are we are concerned with. I appreciate the issue raised by my colleague, the ranking member, when he spoke to value for money. The Speaker, yes, it is something that should concern us. All too often, we have these projects that come to us, and the executive come with their own assessments, and then Parliament swallows it hook, line, and sinker. We must believe in the credibility and the integrity of the friends that are contracted to do that. Mr. Speaker, I keep also indulging committees that we purposefully set aside some allocations. So Parliament doesn't even have to wait for the VFM from the executive. We can also contract professionals to at least do some value for money analysis for us to further enrich the committee report. The committees don't tap into the allocations, and we come back to blame the executive. Parliament is also not doing what is required of us, and particularly the road committee, the committee on works and housing, the committee on education, the committee on health. Most of them that deal in the provision of infrastructure. These allocations are there, even before the VFM from the executive do come to us. Perhaps we may even want to do, for our own purpose, a second opinion of what comes from the executive. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't have anybody to blame but ourselves. Let's do what is right, and I believe that we serve the country better if we went into that. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. But to end on a note that we should approve of the motion moved, ably so, by the chairman of the committee. Thank you very much.
Can I put a question? All in favor of the House adopting the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Resolution numbered 25. Honorable Minister for Roads and Highways.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that resolution number 25, as found on page 20 and 21 on today's order paper be adopted by this honorable House. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion for the resolution to be taken today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the motion to adopt the resolution number 25 on page 20, 21 of today's order paper has been moved and seconded. All in favour of the House adopting the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. This House has adopted the resolution number 25 on pages 20 and 21 of today's order paper. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think it's appropriate that the Minister for Roads is here. They are going to, this road is from the from Fidiase to Kofodia.
Manfi, and then off to Kofodia.
Manfi, and then branching to Kofodia. Mr. Speaker, the other stretch from the toll booth to Fidiase, that is a Yemensa to Fidiase, we have serious challenges there. And I remember at the time of the NDC, there was serious rockfall because of the construction and erosion that is happening. And Mr. Speaker, we had to close one leg of the dual carriage down for a considerable period. I don't know whether they have sufficient contingency. Mr. Speaker, if we do that stretch and we don't cater for this other first phase of it or first stretch of it, it will amount to nothing. I will plead with the Minister, if there is sufficient contingency to attend to that stretch, let them do that. Other than that, he should seriously begin to look for money to handle that leg. Because every now and then, particularly over weekends, you are driving up and you see that the rock is falling because of the massive construction that now is taking place there. And people building so close to the road. I don't know whether he will not liaise with the minister responsible for lands so that we stop the siting of buildings very close to the road. If we don't do that, the rockfall will continue, and we never know what may happen in the near future. In the meantime, the issue is having some funds made available to protect that stretch. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Honourable Minister, I have once in a while done the walk up there. The right side, walking up itself, has serious challenges. Even the walkways, you look down, you can see that some parts are collapsing. So it's not just the rocky part that we must protect, that the valley outside the road, I think that some serious damage happening to the road, and we need to take steps to protect them as soon as practicable. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Chibwe.
Speaker, leadership was engaged extensively, and mainly because of the ongoing consideration of estimate at the committee level. We've come to some agreement that tomorrow's sitting will start at 2 p.m. And so I want to move that the House adjourn to tomorrow 2 p.m. I so move.
Yes, Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion. Mr. Speaker, we are of the view that the majority leadership should do well to support the committees to try and finish whatever work is left. Some of them, some information are being requested from the ministries, and they are not forthcoming. It's part of why some of the reports are delayed. So we hope that if we are adjourning to 2 o'clock tomorrow, when we come at 2 o'clock, we should have some work to do, because, like we said, the target is to rise on the 17th. So we should be seen working very hard to do that. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I second the motion for adjournment until tomorrow 2 p.m., hoping that they will ensure that the committees finish their work in good time to get reports. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Chibwe, your motion has been seconded.
Yes, but I can assure my colleague that frankly, leadership is doing all it could. As of today, the outstanding estimates were judiciary and parliament. And even that, we've been assured that we'll have that by the close of the day. So we'll do all in our ability to ensure that they get all the needed correspondence and the requests, so that we can bring finality to the estimate at the committee level. Speaker, thank you.
Very well. So the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the House adjourning, say aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The House is accordingly adjourned to Tuesday, 14 December 2021 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.